County Secretary and Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. May I welcome you all to this session. And before we proceed, let us have the introductory part of it. I'm Honorable Matata Benjamin Kirich. I'm the chair for this AD-HOC committee.
I'm Sarah Mutual, Vice Chair.
Isaiah Minor, member.
Beth Richard, member.
Bridget Songok, member.
Keter Julius, member.
Isaac Mosbey, member.
Silas Zoom, member.
Guto Trufosa, member.
Tololai Lucy, member.
Jepta Lydia, member.
Silas Kogo, member.
Josephat Bet, member.
I am Tarbey Josephat, member to this committee.
Thank you, honorable members. I will also invite the secretariat to do the introduction.
I am Kibet Kagri, secretariat to this committee.
My name is Eliud Sang. I'm member of secretariat to the AD-HOC committee.
Thank you, the secretariat. I now invite the county secretary and Mr. Mayor to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Francis Sang. I'm the county secretary.
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. My name is Edwin Mayo, former acting secretary, Public Service Board.
Thank you. May I now request the Sergeant at Arms to place the team under oath.
I, Francis Sang, do hereby swear to testify on all matters in question and to tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
I, Edwin Mayo, do hereby swear to testify on all matters in question and to tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you, Sergeant. Maybe now I will take the county secretary and Mr. Mayor through the mandate of the committee. And this committee was established by the House with the following terms. A, to, with respect to flagship projects, flag and alleged non-existing projects as spelled out in the implementation reports laid on the table of the House on 17th September 2024. 1. Investigate whether there was a financial impropriety across all the departments. Establish whether there was a breach of constitution or any other applicable laws by state and public officers in the execution of the projects. Investigate whether the laid down procurement processes were followed in the award of tenders. recommend appropriate action to be taken against identified breaches and all responsible parties accountable. B, establish the cost of personnel emoluments incurred during financial year 22-23 and 23-24 and circumstances, if any, occasioning violation of Section 107 of the Public Finance Management Act, and whether public funds were irregularly paid for personnel emoluments. C, with respect to the Agricultural and Rural Inclusive Growth Project, NARIC, investigate the following. 1, whether funds were utilized in a prudent and responsible way. 2, beneficiaries and their physical locations. 3, whether the procurement processes were adhered to. D, with respect to the county, to the hire of county machinery and or other vehicles to as contained in the project implementation reports laid on the table of the House on 17 September 2024. 1, the circumstances leading to the hire of road machinery or motor vehicles. 2, whether the tendering process was adhered to in accordance with the procurement and other applicable laws. 3, the actual work done and location. 4, the total amount of money paid vis-a-vis the budget allocation. And 5, whether there was value for money. And finally, the committee is mandated to report back to the House the finding and proposed appropriate recommendation. Okay, honorable members, before we proceed, I would like to make some clarification that to the County Secretary and Mr. Mayor, you have to strictly adhere to the question. You don't go out of the question. 2, all answers are raised or are answered through the chair. And 3, all honorable members will be raising questions and should be answered. And finally, maybe before we proceed, I would like to read you Article 195(1) of the Constitution. A county assembly or any of its committees has powers to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence and providing information. 2, for the purpose of clause 1 above, an assembly has the same powers as the High Court. 2, 1, enforce the attendance of witnesses and examine them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise. 2, compel the production of documents. And C, issue a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad. Now, I would like now to give the County Secretary and Mr. Mayor to give a brief introduction. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, members, for this opportunity that you have accorded me to appear before this committee. My name is Francis Ang, and in the year 2017, I was appointed County Secretary in the County Government of Nandi in acting capacity. And in the year 2019, the month of 1st of November, I was substantively appointed the County Secretary in this County Government of Nandi, where I'm serving to this date. Thank you, Chair, in brief.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chair, and honorable members. My name is Edwin Mayo Cheriot. In the year 2018, January, I was appointed as Assistant Director, Internal Audit. The position I served until 17 October 2022, where I was appointed to over services at County Public Service Board as a director, as a secretary to the Public Service Board. The position I held until 17 of October 2023, where I referred back to my current position as Assistant Director in the Audit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the County Secretary. Maybe I will take a brief compliance, and this one is to the County Secretary. When you were summoned, there were some requirements that you are requested to submit to this assembly. And the first one is the list of actual number of employees in Nandi County Government Public Service. 2, the Kaimosi report on audit of employees. 3, the up-to-date list of employees on the payroll against their date of employment. 4, the list of 1,400 employees whose terms were issued with employment letters on 30th July 2021. 5, the copy of the Public Service Commission report on audit of the Nandi County employees. Have you complied, County Secretary?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. To the best of my knowledge, I've complied in all of them except one, which was very difficult to photocopy. This one, Chair. I brought all the 3 appendices now. I'd hoped to get a soft copy from the sender, but it became difficult to get a soft copy. So I'm submitting the 3 to you now.
Can it be handed over to the Sergeant at Arms?
And it's the only copy I have, so I'll photocopy after.
Thank you. What about the Kaimosi report on audit of employees?
I made a response, Chair, that this was done by the County Public Service Board, and they were in a better position to provide the same. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe for now, honorable members, I will invite you to take the County Secretary on issues.
Maybe before we raise substantive issues, Chair, I would wish that the County Secretary confirms that he is the head of the County Public Service or not.
Yes, among my duties, Chair, is the head of County Public Service.
So you confirm?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes.
Would it be, is it that if something, some work, some audit is being done for the county public service, naturally would not come to the head of that group of people? I'm just curious, considering the answer he gave. Even if because you didn't ask him who did it, you just asked him to give the report, to bring it.
Thank you, Chair. I think the honorable member is asking a very valid concern. The County Public Service Board told me that it was an exercise of verification, and it was within their mandate to do the same, and the same was not shared with me.
Honorable Chair, I'm still interested in finding out what the results shared with you.
I'm very clear in my mind, Honorable Chair, that it was not shared with me.
Chair, allow me to ask a question.
Chair.
Now that
maybe Honorable Tarbey, I will first allow Mheshimiwa Mosbey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chair, and very, very closely related to what Honorable Maina has asked. But mine is so that we understand, and so that also the public understands. you can, our able chair, you can give these two gentlemen just like 2 minutes each to tell us, to give us their background, because things have happened, and who knows the positions that they hold vis-a-vis their qualifications. I've now seen, for instance, Mr. Mayo is Assistant Director, Internal Audit. So that he could be holding that position and he is not even an auditor. Because it is possible from what we've gone through, Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Mayo, can you give us your background information?
Thank you, Chair.
On that note, I will direct that you will also produce your academic credentials to this committee.
Thank you, Chair. My background in field of study is I did Bachelor of Business Management Accounting option from Moi University, and also I'm a certified public accountant of Kenya with registration number 26042, and also I'm a certified public secretary of Kenya with registration number 4075. So I'm an accountant by profession, at the same time a public secretary. Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Tabe.
The question, follow up from what Honorable Shangu, Honorable Minor from Lesotho asked. My question is to the County Secretary, and I have only two questions. The first one, now that he's the head of public service, head of county public service, maybe he can explain to us the relationship between the head of county public service and the public service board. How are the two institutions related? Before I ask the follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. According to County Government Act, where it establishes the office of the County Secretary, the first role of the County Secretary is head of public service, county public service. The second role is to organize, to arrange for the business of the County Executive Committee, and for that reason to take minutes, and the third one is to communicate the decisions of the County Executive. As head of public service, Chair, I think that is where perhaps my relationship would be with other departments of the county government of Nandi would be. And basically my work is to coordinate the departments within the county government. In coordination role, Chair, I do it in a manner that, the manner that is expected that the county governments will have smooth operations in terms of ensuring that they are all in tandem in operations. In relation to my role with the County Public Service Board, communications to and from the Nandi County Public Service Board gets through my office, and that is my greatest responsibility. Thank you, Chair.
So, Chair, the second question would be, maybe the County Secretary should tell us, maybe his personal, whether he's related in any way to the acting county, the acting vice chair of the country, the vice chair of the County Public Service Board. Are you in any way related to her?
Chair, you've allowed the question?
Proceed.
All right, thank you. We have some relationship, but not direct. It's not as close as a cousin or a sister. No, it's not very close relationship.
Could you expound more, Chair?
In terms of the exact relationship, or what is it?
Yes.
He's a relative, but not close relative in the definition of a close relative.
Maybe, Honorable Chair, he could tell us what, according to him, is a close relative and a distant one.
Pardon?
What is your take about, what is the scope of close and distant?
Thank you, Chair. My understanding of close relationship would be either a sibling or a child. Those are close relationships. But she's not within.
Chair, my question would be, I fail to understand why in the Public Service Board, the same lady has been acting for a while. What has taken that long that she cannot be replaced? So that's why I thought maybe it's affected in one way or another by the relationship between the two.
Thank you very much. Can I respond?
Yeah, proceed.
I think the reason why we haven't filled the position of the chair of the Public Service Board for some time, and it's not just chair, we have a member also who exited and the secretary, is because the county government initiated that process about 2 years ago. The same became a subject matter in court. The court deliberated and determined the matter. We started the process afresh. And again, midway when we were about to finish the process, there was another court ruling on the same. And right now, the process started after that, and right now the process is almost concluding. So it is neither me or who has influenced the process. Thank you, Chair.
And Chair, and what of the CEO to the service board? Why is the position have never been replaced yet? Maybe you are in a position as the county secretary to explain why that position we have been having an acting after an acting. What could be the problem?
It is the same reason, Chair, as I had explained.
Honorable Chair, on this question, I have two questions. If the acting chair lady is your first cousin, would you consider that to be close or distant?
I think, Chair, as I explained earlier on, in terms of family lineage and closeness of relationship, siblings and children will be the closest. The rest are relatives.
The question was, how would you consider it? How do you view it if she was your first cousin?
Would still be a relative who is close.
Okay. Now, the other question would be, to your knowledge, that position of CEO to the service board, when was the last person who substantively held that position exited? Was it ever filled substantively from this dispensation during the 2019? Because the ones that came here, they said they were taken up in 2019. Were you a public county secretary then? To your knowledge, was that position of secretary filled?
Thank you, Chair. As the members clearly stated, I've been here for a while and I am clearly in the picture of what happened. That with the exit of the first secretary to the public. It was a simple question. Pardon?
It was a simple question, just directly answer. Was it filled?
Not yet.
Was it ever filled?
No.
So what was the reason? Why has it not ever been filled?
In the year 2019, the same was advertised. And at the point at which the selection panel gave the results, the panel indicated that the position was non-responsive. And so we did not appoint.
Chair, finally, the last question.
Yeah. Maybe
let us wait for
maybe if we can finish that. Since you have been in office, what does it mean when you say non-responsive?
Thank you, Chair. I go ahead to respond?
Proceed.
Thank you. Non-responsive, Chair, is when an advert is placed and it does not attract candidates who meet the relevant requirement for that position.
Are you able to supply to this assembly the list of applicants and those who applied? Is it in your custody? Would you be able to bring it?
The appointing authority, your Honorable Chair, is not me. Is not me.
Honorable
Chair.
CS, the question is very clear. It is you whom you have said it was non-responsive. And that one was done by the selection panel. Do we have documentary evidence to that effect?
I respond. Thank you, Chair. I am saying, and I want to be very clear, that if the appointing authority will give me, I will bring it here. That's what I actually undertake to do.
Mr. Sang, please. You are trying to divert from the question.
Chair.
You are the head of public service.
I am.
When the selection panel made their findings, whom was it addressed to?
Thank you, Chair. Can I be very clear that when the selection panel completes the process, it hands over a report to the appointing authority, who is the governor. A report that has everything to the governor. That's what I'm trying to say.
Chair, who is the custodians of those reports?
Thank you,
yes,
Honorable Chair. There are reports that are in my custody, and there are documents that are in the custody of His Excellency the Governor.
Chair, let him stick to the question. Who is the custodian, legal custodian of all those reports?
All correspondences addressed to me, Chair, I'm the legal custodian of the same.
Thank you. Does it mean you work under instruction of somebody? What does the law about, do you understand your constitutional role? Should you be guided on what to do by any other force?
I have a mandate given by law that I actually undertake, Chair.
Sorry?
I have a mandate that I am given by law to do, and I stick to it.
And you said, Chair, through the Chair, you've just mentioned that unless I'm given authority by the governor, where does the governor come in?
I thought
in your responsibilities.
I was very clear, Chair, and I want to still be very clear. The documents that are addressed to the governor, it is in the custody of the governor.
So you are saying you are not a custodian of those documents again?
I am not a custodian to any document addressed to the governor.
I'm not talking about the correspondence, Chair. I'm talking about the custodians of public service reports, and particularly the reports of Audit of Kaimosi. Does it mean...
Honorable Member,
Chair,
please, let me give a guidance so that we don't get mixed up. We are talking of the selection panel report that found it that the advertisement of the three positions, the advertisement of the CEO of the service board was not responsive, and the county secretary, you've accepted that you are the legal custodian of all the documents, and it is on record. So that we don't waste a lot of time, I direct that you produce...
The response, can you share with us whether is very conversant with the values and principles of public service?
I am, Chair.
You are?
Yes.
Can you tell us
Article 10 and Article 232.
Can you tell us briefly?
There are quite a number. And everything else in all these values, Chair, is intended to ensure that there is fairness in everything that is done, and it is done for the interest of the good of everyone. And others include honest, integrity. I did mention all. Thank you, Chair.
I'm particularly, Chair, with Section C, responsive, prompt, effective, impartial, and equitable provision of services. As far as the issue of custody of the document, do you think you've complied with this article in your statement?
In respect to which documentation?
The custody of the documents. As far as Section C of 232, Article 232.
Chair, let me respond that I went on record saying that all the documents that are in my custody I'll provide. I have said so.
Chair, can you allow me
Yes,
ask?
Honorable Tarbe.
Yeah, maybe as the head of the county public service, are you in a position able maybe to advise the CEO of the county or maybe the governor in the matters relating to wage bill? Is it in your mandate maybe to advise or something like that?
Yes, I am.
And maybe, if my memory serves me well, you are the second county secretary. When you took office as the county secretary, what was the wage bill of the county and what is it at the moment?
If I can remember, it was a bit low, not as compared to this time.
So what could you, maybe for the interest of this committee, what could be laxity? Could the laxity be on your side, or what transpired?
And in the chair, just overall, I would want to make a comment that in the previous administration, the services that were offered, particularly health and ECDE pay, was not as
Honorable Chair,
it is for now.
Could he clarify?
Honorable
Previous,
member,
previous
let
administration.
us allow the issue to be dealt with first.
Which is the clarification that I wanted. I think I got a question by Honorable Mheshimiwa Uji asked that what is the difference between the how the wage bill was before and now? I think that's the question you asked. And I am saying the services that we are providing now is not the same as it was last time. Basically that. There is increase in service provision as compared to what it was in the first administration. I think that's what Mheshimiwa Maina wanted to get in terms of clarification.
Mheshimiwa Maina has not asked any question. I think it is Mr. Tarbe, Mheshimiwa Tarbe is the one that had asked the question. So maybe I will call upon Mheshimiwa Maina to give.
Well, maybe Chair, so that we avoid situations like that, it would be nice if the witness gives clarity, because when he says previous administration, we get lost, I get lost. So it would be nice if you were to clarify exactly what you mean by this administration and another administration.
And in addition to that, Chair, you know, he's talking about the wage bill being lower and now a bit higher. As the head of public service, he should be able to state the percentage where he found the wage bill and at the moment. Thank you.
Mr. Tsang.
Through the chair, Mr. Sang, you have talked of the last regime and the time you came in the office. What was the budget of the county by then, and what is the budget by now?
Chair, I may not be having the exact figures of the two questions as been asked. But one thing that I know is if I may give an approximate figures, because this is not part of the questions that had been given earlier on, I'm just giving approximate, and I wouldn't want to go on record giving figures that may not be accurate. So basically, I would want to say that it was low, but I don't have the exact figures as it was then and now. The difference then again, Honorable Chair, is that equitable share of revenue at that time was lower as compared to this time. And then the figures I don't have.
Chair, maybe we need clarification. When we talk of wage bill, we are talking of the increased number of employees. Is that correct, yes?
Yes, increased number of employees, and which actually eventually generates to increased equivalent of on compensation and remuneration on that matter. It gets to that remuneration.
So, in terms of now revenue, how is that related to increase in the number of employees? Does it mean now that you have talked of two administration, does it mean the current administration went on a recruitment spree, or what happened? Because it's the same resources, the boundaries of the counties have not expanded, the services which were offered by maybe the first, and I talked of the first county secretary, and now you are the county secretary. What happened in between? Because I believe even if the share of revenue does not, if it has increased, it means therefore the wage bill would have been maintain but increase service delivery to the people. But you are saying the wage bill has increased because of increased service delivery of the people. Does it mean?
This was what I wanted to say, Chair, if I wasn't clear. That with the expansion of services, for instance, in health sector, this has attracted an equivalent expansion also in terms of provision of services by employees. And basically what that means is that we have increased the number of employees providing the services. Let me take, for example, clinical officers. By the time of 2018, we had about 50-something clinical officers. As I talk, for instance, now we have 200 and something. And the same is replicated in all the other departments, and particularly all the other cadres of health. That expansion has been quite big, bigger not in the same proportion as the increase in equitable share of revenue that is coming to the county. The net effect, Chair, is that that has increased the revenue. And even the ECD Chair, then the numbers were low. We have also employed quite a big number of the same. The other aspect that has increased, again, the wage bill is promotions that has been, in some departments we've done promotions that were not done previously in the previous administration, the first administration for that matter. This in totality has led to increase in wage bill and many other factors. Thank you, Chair.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Keter.
Now, maybe after about explanation from the CS, do we have a crisis about workers in Nandi County as at now?
Thank you, Chair. And to be very particular, we have a crisis. For instance, in health, it's a very serious crisis. And as I talk now, a meeting is ongoing, which I was supposed to have attended over the same, so that we actually try to unlock the problem that has led to lack of provision of services for the last 3 days. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Who is to be blamed according to you now that you have accepted there is a crisis?
You're asking the particular person or institution, or what is it exactly?
Now that you are the CS and you have accepted that there is a crisis about workers.
Yes.
Who is to be blamed as in with the crisis?
And on addition to that, Mr. Sang, what triggered the crisis?
Chair, I think we are all not new in Nandi. The particular officers who have actually gone on a go-slow to almost, paralysis, causing paralysis in the hospitals, is that these are officers whose contracts were revoked. And after the revocation of the contracts, that process was now triggered. And I think that is where we started having that crisis.
Honorable Mosby.
Daktari, through the chair, some sources say that the wage bill is 72%. Now, the country, like my colleague has said, or the county, as my colleague has said, is in a crisis, and you've acknowledged. It surprises me a little bit when you say, and we are talking about wage bill, everybody is, any leader at whatever cadre, is now concerned with this thing called wage bill. Isn't it surprising that you don't exactly know what the wage bill is, so that you talk of a go-slow, at the same time, you know the appointments have been revoked. So who is going slow, and yet the staff have been, the appointments have been revoked? So one, is it possible for you to give us the exact exact position we are in as far as wage bill is concerned.
Thank you, Chair. The last update I was given about a week ago, which I think is still the same, is our wage bill is approximately 42%.
So, Chair, allow me.
Honorable Todole.
Yes. I was even the first person to ask the exact percentage of wage bill. He said, I don't know. How? I'm very sure he's also going to withhold a lot of information from us. You've been in office for quite a number of years, Honorable CS. And I believe even the people at the ground, those people who are not in office, they know the percentage of the wage bill. How comes that you don't know?
Oh, okay. To rephrase the question. You said you were given the information a week ago. Prior to the information that you were given, what was the wage bill?
The wage bill before revocation, I think that is where we are.
Yes, yes.
Where we are. It was over 62%.
A question, Chair.
Yes.
I want to ask the CS whether he sits in the County Executive Committee. Do you?
I sit as a secretary.
Thank you. When did you realize that there is a ballooning wage bill? Through the Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Towards the end of last year, the Department of Administration gave an indication that there was a ballooning wage bill. And in January, we took to understand the exact happenings on the wage bill. And really, as we did that, that was in January. We had series of consultations with the relevant authorities on how we were going to address the issue of wage bill. So it was around January that we really dealt with it.
Thank you. When you are informed of the same wage bill, did you inform the County Executive Committee, and to be particular, including the governor?
Yes, we had moments when we briefed the governor on the ballooning wage bill, and we were all concerned over the same.
Was there any correspondence on the same?
Thank you, Chair.
Written correspondence?
This was consultation, and it was on the basis of finding solutions.
I mean, is there any written, what is your form of engagement with County Executive Committee as an advisory? What is the way of engagement in terms of communication? Is there any written document to that effect?
Chair, I hope the member is saying when we are engaging as a County Executive Committee, we mostly engage in meetings, and we have minutes after the meetings.
Thank you, Chair. Could, through the Chair, fail those minutes to this committee?
I want to make it clear, Chair, that it did not substantively become an agenda in the meeting. It was an engagement that we were, just like you have an issue and you are brainstorming, what are we going to do?
Chair, through the Chair, on such a very serious issue, County Secretary, you are brainstorming on a very serious issues that has hampered services in the entire county. What does the law say about the wage bill? What does the CRA policy says about the wage bill?
The PFM Act is very clear. It's not supposed to go beyond 35% threshold.
It was 62, and you are just brainstorming.
And thereafter, Chair, we took some steps, and I think that could be the next question you would probably ask.
Honorable Chair.
Yes.
Maybe just along the same line.
Yes.
Probably even before we go any further, as a head of county public service, how do you rate your performance? And also considering, what were you before you became CS?
I was an educationist where I became a principal.
I mean in this county.
I was a member of the Public Service Board.
What role?
A member of the Public Service Board.
From time?
Here from 2013.
Just give us the timeline. 2013 to?
August up to July 2017.
Okay.
Yes.
So rate yourself in terms of being head of the county public service. How do you feel?
Thank you, Chair. In the best
on a scale of 1 to 10.
The best rating would ordinarily come from external.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
External rating is usually the very best.
No, yours. It's very subjective.
But in respect to my role as head of county public service, organizing and arranging the agenda of the three roles.
Secretary.
I'm going there. The three roles.
I think Wanasang, let us not engage in many stories.
Yes.
You've been asked that in a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself.
Above 70%, above 7.
So 7 out of 10. Thank you. But now the other question that I'd like to ask you, please briefly take us, so much as I am a bit hesitant to ask you this question, considering that you've indicated you are not interested in what came out of Kaimosi, never came to your purview and so on. So I'm even getting concerned whether you're interested in your job. But then, having said that, could you just tell us briefly that role of head of public service, county public service, what does it entail? And what are some of the evidences you can show us or give this committee to indicate that you've been playing that role of head of county public service? What is your day like?
Thank you, Chair. The unbundling the role of head of public service in very basic terms.
In terms of county public service?
Yes. The head of public service plays the role of coordinating the county departments to ensure that each one of them plays their role as is expected. Should there be a missing link between one department and the other, it is the role of the head of county public service to ensure that that link is actually fixed.
Use examples.
For instance, Chair, we have a problem in the Department of Roads. Maybe we have a problem of fuel, or maybe the machines have broken down and it requires some fixing. How would come in and engage the right departments who would be responsible to ensure that that problem is fixed so that we have continuity in work? That's an example.
You touched a very interesting area.
Is an example.
You touched a very interesting area. So just take us through that. So a grader has broken down in Lesos.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
It comes to when it comes to my attention.
How does it come to your attention? And does it ever come to your attention?
Many instances they report to me that we have a problem. They do. The departments report when they already hit a snag in terms of ensuring that the work flows on as expected. They inform me, and once I'm informed, I get the interventions of the right department for that reason, and I've done it many times.
In terms of writing or by word of mouth?
Chair, you know this is work that requires fixing. Fixing and coordinating wrong of fixing issues. You may not even have that time to write. You just have to ensure that things work, including making telephone calls and of course getting the right people to your office and have discussions and ensure that they play their role. That's what I do every day. And my day looks like every day I am able to address issues from directors and chief officers and even CCs. That is how my day looks like. That is the coordinating role that I play.
So, Chair, so that we get out of here.
Yes.
May I ask the witness? So assume now that Kendagor has become an employee in the county. Does it come to your attention?
It does.
Okay, tell us about that.
It does at the right time. When that time has come that I need to know, it gets to me.
Oh, would you know whether they are, who are the workers of Nandi?
Every worker. That would be difficult, Chair, definitely. I would not know all the workers of Nandi County. Now that there are like 4,800 previously, I would want to be able to know all the workers of the county.
So anybody can be a worker of Nandi without your knowledge and draw a salary? As head of county public service?
Anybody? No.
Anybody?
No. The people who go through the right process and going through the irregular process that is expected by law.
So, Chair, so do you want to say all the happenings went through the right process? You've said every employment goes through the right process.
I have said that the one that goes to the, I think I was very clear that the ones that go through the right process are the ones that need to be the ones who become our employees for that reason.
And how does irregular employment come in when you are in charge of the department?
In charge of?
Of the public service. Where does these irregularities come from? If you are in control of your department.
Chair, I think that question is not very clear. I don't know whether.
I mean,
the question is, from the current happenings around the county,
yes,
we have people that, even from the reports from the Public Service Commission, they have been in the payroll and procedurally. So, and that is an irregularity, correct?
Yes.
So how did that happen?
And you are in control of your department, Chair. How does that happen while you are in control?
Let me begin, Chair, to say that I'm not in charge of any department, so that we are clear from there.
I mean, the park stops at you, right?
And to clarify on that, can you give the procedure of employment? When a vacancy arises in the Department of Roads, how does it escalate?
Thank you. I think that is very clear, Chair, that the Department of Roads will go through their needs and establish that there are needs in their particular department for provision of a particular service. The departmental human resource will sit, come up with the minutes of their decisions, escalate the same to the Office of County Secretary in form of a request for recruitment. In that process, they will have conversed with the Department of Finance to ensure that we have the funds. Once it is written to me, I will convene CRAC meeting, County Human Resource Advisory Committee. I do the minutes, and I'm the chair, and the secretary is the chief officer responsible for public service. And it comprises of all the chief officers. From there, I'll write to the Public Service Board requesting for the recruitment of the particular officers that we have identified on the basis of need, and we are accompanying that with the intents. That is the requirement for that particular positions as per the scheme of service. The board will sit and consider as it is. They will sit and consider. They will, once they are satisfied that the intents and the requirements for the positions are okay, they would want to do a double check with finance to ensure that finance has adequate resources for that reason to pay for these employees. Once that is done, they will go ahead and advertise for the positions. Once they have advertised for the particular positions, they will do shortlisting, engage in interview, selection, and do a report, and produce the letters of appointment for the particular officers. They would invite the officers to pick the letters, but I have 2 letters that will be sent. One, the 2 letters will be forwarded to the office of the county secretary. And those 2 letters of appointment will be accompanied by a master list, a list containing all the appointments. And then it is sent to the office of the county secretary. The county secretary will forward the same to the chief officer of public service and administration. And the same documents will then go, one letter will go to the chief officer public service and administration, the other one will go to the receiving department for deployment. And in this other side, the public service chief will be able to ensure that we have files and registry, development of files and put in the registry and the payroll effectively after the officer has reported. That is the standard process, Chair.
Chair, thank you for that comprehensive report. Bwana County Secretary, is it possible to employ people that they were not budgeted for in various departments? That today I can wake up and say I want to employ 10 people and deploy them to different departments, that it never made any budget, or rather there was no provision for employment. Is it possible?
Chair, it is possible, but that is irregular.
So you confirm that what we've been doing is regularity, because a number of employees in our county were done without budget, right? And that is what has costed us today, Bwana County Secretary. You just wake up as we, and then there are vacancies that were never budgeted for. Comfortably you sign letters without any budget. Don't you think you've run out of control? How can that happen without budget? Which fault do you use?
And maybe as a rejoinder on the same one, Chair, may I ask the two officers, do you have any family members or member or relatives or a relative maybe that we've employed directly or indirectly this county government of Nandi? First, Mr. Mayo can answer that.
Thank you, Chair. No, I don't have.
Bwana Secretary.
Chair, I don't have.
So, through the Chair.
Chair, I would wish he answers the question first, like the chairman has said. Why can't he respond to my question before we move to the next question? So, Vice Chair, please, kindly. I've asked a very important question that I need the County Secretary to tell us today and tell this committee. That is it possible to employ people who are not budgeted for in different departments?
Chair, I thought I had responded that it's possible, but it is irregular.
So you confirm that you participated in the irregularities?
I strongly do not confirm that I did the irregularities.
Maybe, Chair, just to frame it differently, slightly differently. As a senior official, you draw a salary from the county government. Do you?
I do.
Do you believe that that salary of yours is budgeted?
Yes.
Can we have 10 secretaries and they all draw a salary?
Which secretaries? County secretaries?
Right now we have you.
Yes.
Supposing we added 20. Say I brought my own 20 secretaries irregularly.
I think.
And managed to put them in there. Will the salaries just flow normally?
That will be a problem because any employment is based on need. I say it in my elaborate explanation.
No, it's not a question of the need. I'm talking about the resources.
It will not be adequate.
So that means for any people to be covered in a budget, there must be an acquiescence from the highest authority. Because otherwise it would be known that now there is so much demand for money. Wouldn't you agree?
What is it exactly that you are asking? Because
I mean, like if you have 2,000 staff who are not needed, wouldn't you know?
Chair,
how do you pay them?
Chair, in the explanation I gave, I think I was very clear on how the process flows. And
But Chair, before I leave, because I wanted to ask you, are you aware? Okay, maybe even because this, who is the secretary of that crack?
the secretary of the crack is the head of human resource.
You talked about crack.
Yes. It depends on which crack, because we have the county one. I am the chair.
The one where you are the chair?
Yes, yes.
Who is the secretary?
The head of human resource.
I thought you named someone. You said as
There's
chief officer.
that is a member who, in some instances, I delegate. That is the chief of the administration. I've corrected.
So
the secretary of the head of human resources is the secretary.
What about the chief officer?
The chief officer is a member, but does the work of affairs when I'm not there. I mean,
so currently it is who?
Misoi.
Would you know whether what he was engaged as, what CEO, chief officer in the county when he was engaged? Substantive. Yes. What was he engaged for?
Chief officer ICT.
And now you are saying he's playing which role?
The role of chief officer ICT administration, public service, and ICT.
Just be clear so that all the people understand.
Yes.
This person was employed to play which role?
ICT, chief officer ICT.
Was he also employed to play the other one?
He was since been appointed by the governor to act on the other position of chief officer administration and public service. He was appointed. I'm very clear.
Substantively.
Acting.
Maybe while the voice is on minus, CS, can you explain why in the line of public service every position is being acted? The CEO for public service is acting, the chair is acting, the CEO is acting. Is it by design so that all these things just fall in place? Because you cannot have an acting CEO for public service, have an acting CEO, have an acting chair. That's why we are in this mess. Is it created by design so that the who and who's can manipulate the system and infiltrate it? Why is it everything kind of in an acting? Because if the CEO for public service is acting, the CEO, who is the secretary to public service post, is acting, the chair is acting. Why? Can you explain the acting part?
And on top of that, so that you can answer, I'm very sure that you've gone through the Public Service Commission report, and it indicated how many officers are in acting positions.
41.
41.
Chair, what does the law say when a vacancy arises in the office of chief officer? What does the law say to fill that vacancy? What is the procedure?
Chair, I need your guidance in responding to these questions. One is that I will strongly be in a position to respond to the question of staff who have been acting for the 41. But those ones for chief officers and the board, I may not be in a position to respond to. I need your guidance, Chair.
So that one is out of your mandate?
I mean, it is clear.
Honorable Chairman, the witness, are you telling this committee that chief officer is not a public servant under you?
I'm clearly stating, Chair, that chief officer is appointed by the governor.
I was asking the law.
Order, honorable members. For us to get it clearly, I want to follow on the issue that Honorable Maina has raised. That
yes. They are under me.
The chief officer is under you?
Yes.
And he is a public servant?
Yes.
Thank you. Proceed, Honorable Bett.
He is mentioned on the processes of employment. Chair, I need your attention. County Secretary, you've mentioned in the processes of employment, you've made it clearly that the department initiates when there's a vacancy. Could you be able to share with us employment for the last 2 financial years, the correspondence with the department, different departments, asking or rather requesting your office to fill those vacancies? Are you able to share with us those correspondence when those vacancies arises, when the advertisement was made, when the shortlisting was done, when the interview was done, and appointment letters? Are you able to share those correspondence with us for the last 2 financial years?
I will be able to share, the chair, the request from the department and my forwarding letters to the Public Service Board and the correspondence from the Public Service Board to the office of the County Secretary. I can.
So that we don't lose it here, Chair.
Honorable Keter.
Thank you. Now that the CS has just taken us across on how the employment is done, it should be done. Is that the case here in Nandi County? Have we followed that due process the way you have explained, Chair? Can you confirm that due processes has been being followed here in Nandi County? Is that the case?
Thank you, Chair. Are you referring to the present instances?
No, I'm saying since you are very much conversant with how the law is being followed.
Correct. Yes, it has been followed. It has been followed.
Duly.
Yes, but I said anything that falls short of that is irregular. And I think to come clear, Chair, so that...
to be specific and to guide.
Yes.
So you want to say that any irregularity that happened behind your back. Is that the case?
Yeah, precisely without my knowledge.
Thank you.
But we don't leave this place. Now, the 18, what was the number of staff that were actually revoked?
1899.
I have the exact number here, Chair.
In your view?
Yes.
Is it your evidence that these are the type of staff who never came in the way you've described?
Yes, I think, Chair, the persons who revoked, the body that revoked is the Public Service Board, and they are better placed to advise.
Maybe on that very note, could the former CEO of the Public Service, during your tenure, vetting was done in Kaimosi, and messages were sent to the applicants to collect letters of appointment. And it's the same lot that we are talking about being affected. What do you have to say about it, Mr. Mayo?
Chair, I didn't get the question well.
I'm saying
there was an activity that was carried out at Kaimosi. You are privy to that?
Yes, I do.
There were messages that were sent to successful employees. Are you privy to that?
Yes, I do.
Mheshimiwa, complete your question.
Now that you are the CEO for the Public Service Board, were those appointments approved by the Public Service Board, County Public Service Board?
Yes, it did.
Who did it?
The Public Service Board.
And you
approved?
Yes, the Public Service Board approved it, and I have a resolution on the minutes and the resolution of the Public Service Board.
Did you communicate the same to the County Secretary?
Which communication? I didn't get that.
I mean, after recruitment, the County Secretary has told us the process of recruitment. So if the board did all the recruitment and the approval, obviously you communicated to the County Secretary. Is that the true position?
That is the true position.
So, County Secretary, what do you have to say?
Chair, like I undertook earlier on, Chair, as was asked, any of the correspondences I received from the board, I have probably kept, and I'll be able to avail to this committee as and when you require. I received others up to somewhere early last year, and the others I did not receive.
I want to pose a question to Mr. Mayo. What do you know about the 1899 employees? What do you know?
Thank you.
And to be very specific, were they procedurally employed?
Thank you, Chair.
To the affirmative? Yes or no?
Thank you, Chair.
To the affirmative, yes or no?
No. There are some who are recruited correctly, and there are those who are not.
Kindly allow the witness to expound here, because the two gentlemen are seated there. The former CEO has said he communicated to the county secretary, so maybe you can allow the
to explain the circumstances surrounding the 1899 employees.
Thank you, Chair. There are some whom I communicated to the county secretary, and there are those who there is a list that was not communicated to the county secretary. I don't need to be clear on that.
Honorable Chair, Mr. Mayo, earlier on in the morning it was said you never handed over. Could you clarify to this committee, did you hand over? Or these minutes you're talking about you took to your house?
Through the chair, thank you, member.
Did you hand over?
Chair, I wanted to hand over. I was given a letter to hand over.
Did you hand over? Yes or no?
Chair, protect me. Allow me to explain.
Did you hand over?
The question just need a yes or a no.
Before I respond to yes or no,
Chair.
Just go on. Let him answer. Maybe you will be comfortable that way. Answer.
Thank you. I wanted to hand over. And when I took the handing over report, which I still have it, the chair to the audit chair to acting vice chair told me not to hand over the report.
Acting what? Just be clear.
Acting chair to the public service board. That is current vice chair.
Can you clarify? To your knowledge, is she acting chair or is she vice chair?
She is vice chair to the public service board, but performing the function of the chair.
But not acting.
Vice chair.
She is the vice chair.
Hello.
Okay.
Excuse me, vice chair.
Okay, so now may I ask you some further two questions? How is it that you are made the CEO? What made it for you to be? What is it? Why were you picked?
Chair, I may not know why I was picked, but I got a correspondence. I got a letter asking me to perform the duties of a Secretary of the Public Service Board as from 17 October 2022.
Just like that, out of the blue?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very curious, since you are an internal auditor, and Amakel would have been very happy that you've been in. What are your duties as an internal auditor?
Thank you, Chair. I have several duties, but one of the duties that I do is to audit all departments of the county, to test the internal controls in the county, to prepare work plan of internal audit, and also to act as a secretary to the county county audit committee. Thank you, Chair.
So does it include personal emoluments through the chair? Do you audit that?
Yes, I used to audit before I got to that office, so I didn't audit when I was in that office.
Through the chair, Minor. So through the chair, you've said that you were advised by the acting chair that not to submit the said document to the county CS. So, okay. You've said that you are advised by the acting chair not to submit the document, the said document, to the county secretary. So, in your own capacity, was it right to sit on the document and not to forward to the county secretary?
Thank you, Chair. I didn't say that I was advised by the vice chair not to submit. I said that I wanted to hand over my report because my time had elapsed. But the Public Service Board didn't take my report. And I informed the county secretary that I wanted to hand over, but the board didn't take in fact, they took, and they told me that they want to read through, and then they will get back to me, but they didn't get back to me.
But you to the county board?
Yes, I did.
But the document never came back to you?
The document didn't come back to me.
So it is with the board?
Yes.
Chair, the witness had said that he still
let us allow the witness to answer, then we shall proceed.
Chair,
yes.
For avoidance of doubt, it's in record of the House that he said he still have the documents to date.
Chair, I gave the County Public Service Board a copy, and I retain my copy.
Okay, you stand guided.
So, Chair, make us to understand this the way witness is presenting. Now he has alluded that he has handed over the report to the public service, remaining with a copy.
Let me ask.
How does it?
Let me ask you,
the two?
Mr. Mayor. Did you hand over everything that was under your custody when you were the acting CEO of the Nandi County Public Service Commission? Did you hand over everything?
Thank you, Chair. I handed over the report to the Public Service Board. But when it comes to the time of signing, because before you hand over, both parties signs, we didn't sign because they asked me to give them time to go through the report. But to date, they have a copy and I have my copy. Thank you.
I have a question there.
Yes, Mr. Bitok.
Yeah, and this is to the county secretary because he's in charge to the Public Service Board. What is the procedure of handing over that Mr. Mayo was supposed to follow? And maybe why was the acting vice chair didn't follow that procedure?
Thank you, Chair. I want to just make a correction. I'm not the head of County Public Service Board, but I'm the head of public service. And ordinarily, Chair, the usual practice and very standard is that handing over is internal process, which is supposed to have been presided over by the board. The handing over of the new secretary, the former secretary, the new one was supposed to have been presided over by the board. Do the ceremony of signing and taking over, and the documentations exchanged. That is the standard practice. Yes.
Now, I want to take you back, Mr. Mayor. You say you didn't transmit other names to the county secretary. Is that right?
Right.
What was the reason?
The reason, the reason being, you know, in Public Service Board, we have committees. We have Human Resource Committee, we have Legal and Compliance, and we have Administration. The HR Committee are in charge of producing letters and bringing to the county secretary of the Public Service Board for signing. So there were some letters that was brought to me, and it was taken back to the Human Resource Committee. So those are the letters that I didn't forward to the county secretary. So there's the letters that I signed, or the letter that I signed forwarding to the county secretary, I put my signature. But I made to know that there are some which has my digital signature. That is what I say I didn't know.
Can the ICT team, please, can you project a letter that has the name of Mr. Mayo? Can you zoom it? Is that your signature?
That is not my signature, Chair.
What signature is that?
That signature is for Nancy Cheruto.
So yes, can you explain the circumstances leading to that?
Chair, I may not know why she signed on my behalf.
Thank you, we proceed. Thank you.
I
I think, honorable members, let us not interrogate further on that.
Yes, Chair.
The thing is already, yes, honorable.
Yes, I.
Yes, honorable Bridget.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mayor, you said that some were recruited in a right way. I hear right that, and the rest were not recruited. Whose decision was followed?
Chair, thank you. One of the functions of the Secretary of the Public Service Board is to convey the decision of the board. And the decision that those who were recruited were the decision of the board, and that is what those are the ones who were recruited.
Now, Mr. Mayo, a very simple question. The 1899 employees, that some of them you didn't forward their names to the county secretary. Some of these, did they undertook the right procedure?
Thank you, Chair. There was a decision that was made by the board that we do a verification exercise in Kaimusi. And unanimously, we agreed that we do a verification, and subsequently, those who are verified be issued appointment letters.
Without interviews and everything. So are you confirming that it was the decision of the board to give these people letters without the due process?
Yes, Chair, it was the decision of the board.
Thank you.
Honorable Chairman.
Yes.
So that before we leave this point, I wish to ask the Secretary Mayo, when you were tapped, did you consider yourself qualified to hold that position?
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. Yes, I consider myself qualified for the position because by then
Just hold on. That's enough. Which part of did you refer? I'm just for the purposes of just being on the safe side, did you ever check the requirements for being a secretary to the board, apart from the issue of what you want to tell us being a certified public secretary? Did you check any other requirement?
Yes or no?
No.
So you did not check. I put it to you that, Bonamayo, that a public servant does not qualify. But then now coming to the CS on this question, do you consider the service board to be a department of the executive?
In respect to
And
dichotomy of...
Okay, let me guide. The question is very straight. Do you consider the service board a department of the executive? To the affirmative, yes or no?
I wish there was another option so that I can be clear.
No, answer the question, yes or no?
It is in the executive.
It is a department of the executive.
It is in the executive.
So the question is yes or no?
You didn't want to allow me to give a proper...
No, give me the answer to the affirmative.
The fact that it's not in the assembly, then it is yes.
So it's is it your answer that it is it a department of the executive or not? Yes or no?
It is not a department.
I think, honorable member,
no, there is a
he has
question.
answered.
It is not a department.
It is not.
Yes.
So you see, he had not answered. If that is so,
yes,
how does a server, somebody who is under you, is this a civil servant under you?
He is.
Okay, take us through the process of a servant under you moving to a place which is not a department. I know that normally if it is within the department, you can deploy, the chief officer would deploy. If it is across departments, it is you to deploy. So who deployed him?
Thank you.
Under what circumstances? Because he's under you.
He's under me, rightly.
Tell us.
That is true. And understanding this fact, that any acting appointment or performance of duties is supposed to be done by appointing authority.
This is a public servant under you.
Yes, it was done by the appointing authority.
Public servant under you.
Yes.
Was it ever brought to your attention that a public servant under you is being taken to another place?
Yes.
Do you have communication to that effect?
The letter that appointed him communicated.
Does it concern you then, now, when he comes back, does he just land in his office or he comes through you?
He comes through my office.
Did you check that he had handed over, including the property of the board, considering that the board is a separate entity? Did he clear?
Yeah, Chair. And I think when he gave the report, he mentioned to me that there was a problem of handing over. And I spoke to the board, and I also spoke to him. That matter was brought to my attention, by the way. And I asked them to amicably solve that issue. And the board and him agreed that
So he didn't clear?
Pardon?
Did he clear? Maybe we can ask the witness. Did you clear?
Mr. Mayor, did you clear with the service board?
No, I didn't.
You didn't clear.
So if there was any loss of public property, Bana CS, what would, if you are held responsible, would that be okay?
The officer is squarely responsible, and I think it's a matter that I'll have to pick it up. He's squarely responsible.
Is that a sign that you are not prudently taking care of the resources of Nandi County?
That is not a fact, Chair.
What do you think?
It's not true.
Yeah, can I ask a question, Chair?
Yes, Mr.
It's clear that there was some misunderstanding within the public service board between the CEO, maybe, and the chair lady, and we don't know the other members. Could Mayor take us through the working relationship whenever they were in meetings? Can he paint a clear picture of the relationship while transacting businesses at the county public service board? Was it a good, a smooth working relationship? Maybe you can give us a clear picture.
Chair, thank you. I wish to bring to attention of this ad hoc committee that this is the matter that is under, it's in God, and the relationship between members of the public service board was good.
Maybe I just wanted to know why then the vice chair could refuse for a proper handing over if the relationship was good all along. What could have caused that scenario?
Thank you, Chair. The reason was that, I had asked the previous report because when I entered that office, there was no handing over. So I asked her, let me have the previous report from the previous CEO to help me prepare this other report. And that is where...
Chairman, I think you need to take this matter a little bit more seriously because, so who were you and who handed over to you? Who was supposed to hand over to you? When you took over, you took from who?
I was, somebody who was supposed to hand over to me was Nancy after the death of Trofena.
Now, hey, this is a very good story. Nancy was supposed to hand over to you. Before you became the CEO, the acting, who was acting before you?
Nancy was acting until the time, I think May, when she proceeded for leave. And then in between here, I didn't know who was acting. But Nancy was acting before me.
County Secretary can tell us, Chair, who was acting during that particular period. He is in a better position to tell us.
Thank you. Maybe I can give a chronology of the same. After substantive secretary who was Esther, CSA took over. After CSA, Trofena came. After Trofena, Nancy came. After Nancy, Mayo. After Mayo, Nancy. Yes.
Order, please, honorable members. To the best of your knowledge, Mr. Sang, all these people have been acting all through.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, there is just probably one other simple question. When you are handing over Mr. Mayo, what would be the contents of such an handing over session?
Chair, I didn't catch his...
when you are handing over, what are some of the things, what is it that you hand over?
Thank you, Chair. I handed over all the, in my report is all the assets of the Public Service Board and all the deliberations and resolutions of the board. Thank you.
So that now, when we requested for any information and it was said no handing over, you are confirming to us that there is nothing in any other place except that office. I mean, did you take anything with you? Like minutes and things like that?
No, I didn't take any minutes. Minutes are in that, I left the minutes in the office. What I have is the copies, the copy of my report where it includes the minutes.
So it includes all the minutes you took as secretary?
Yes, are in the office and I have my copies.
And you are carrying it along with you?
Chair,
Because this is
maybe
a public
I will
document.
produce after this session.
Chair, Chair, I have something that I want to ask you, Mr. Mayo. Surrounding the handing over, could it have been that during your tenure, could it have happened that irregularities happened during your tenure to an extent whoever who took over from you never wanted to receive the report? From your own observation, at what period did these irregularities happen in the very high rate? Possibly, could it be in your tenure? Where you sit, do you feel that you did the right thing and within the confines of the law?
Thank you, Chair. As I had alluded earlier that this is a live matter in the court, and I would not wish to go into details, but to the best of my knowledge, as honorable members asked.
Chair, we are not aware. Do you have a court case?
Yes, there is a court case that is E077 of 2024.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, before you go to the issues of the court case, the question is very clear. The county secretary has said that anything that happened behind his back were irregularities. The honorable member is not talking about the court case. He's talking that during your tenure, when you were acting, did you did the right thing according to the law?
According to the law, that is why I say, Chair, that there is a court case that is.
I'm not talking of the court case, Mr. Mayor.
This way, Chair.
I'm saying to you, nobody has quoted the court case here.
Chair, let me
Honorable
put it this
member,
way, Chair.
please be patient. You, as Mr. Mayor, acting CEO, Nandi County Public Service Board, during your tenure, did you think, according to the law, did you perform your duties within the confines of the law? The question is to the affirmative, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. Honorable Bett.
Thank you, Chairman. Through Chair.
Maybe, honorable members, for once more, let me remind the two persons before the committee. Remember that you are under oath. And anything that you say is recorded. So I'm just reminding you that, remember that you are under oath. Proceed.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, allow me to direct my question to Daktari, CS. Is your term lapse? If not, when? Contact term.
Very direct. It's ending at the end of this month.
Okay, through the chair. So may I direct my question to the county secretary? So, Dr. Risan, who approves or declare those forms, loan forms that whoever wants the loan is a true employee of the county? Who abandons the signatures?
Thank you, Chair. This is actually a function of public service, the Department of Public Service. Ordinarily is approved by head of human resource and I think payroll, one of the payroll officers. So it is actually under the Department of Public Service. And maybe for clarity, so that all of us are in the same page, payroll function, human resource function is under the Department of Public Service. And I think maybe for anyone who was not aware of that information, it's under public service. Thank you.
So my question is that, so we have the so-called county employees who never went through the correct channel. They get their payrolls, and then they went to the banks for loans. And it is the same governments who approved that they are their employees. In case they will not make their way back to those job opportunities, who is now liable for the huge amount of money that they owe the banks?
Can I go?
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. It's a matter that the banks have already raised with my office. We have had discussions on the same, and it's unfortunate that that happened. But again, I think it was within the guarantee or the signing of our officers. The banks were equally aware that they were granting our employees a loan, and in some instances there are risks associated with that. But I hope that a solution will be found, because it might be a very huge loss to the banks. Thank you.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yes, Honorable Tarbi.
Yeah, my first question will be to Mr. Mayo. You are aware there was an audit by the Public Service Board. And one of the observations of the Public Service Board, they say there is poor record keeping by the Public Service Board. Now that you have told us that you had some records which you handed over, were you at some point conducted for those records, for it to be available for the Service Board during the audit?
Thank you, Chair. I was not conducted.
Then my question to the County Secretary. You are part of the technical committee who were assigned to assist the Public Service Commission during the audit. You knew well that some of the records were not properly handed over by Mr. Mayo to the current acting CEO. What step did you do to assist the Public Service Board in accessing these records? Because you personally knew that the records was with Mr. Mayo. That's why the Public Service observed that there were poor record keeping. Yet, in real sense, the records were existing. They were available records. And you were part of the technical committee team, including the CEC for administration. And who other members were in the technical committee assisting the public service?
Would we go on record, Chair, that I was not in the steering committee? Let's go on record.
Allow us. Who are in the steering committee?
I think they are in that report. The
I
report,
think,
not the appendices.
honorable members, for that issue, can you check on the Public Service Commission's report? It is clearly indicating the steering committee during the audit process. So you can confirm with the report that you have.
Chair, there is something Mayo mentioned which I thought was very key. He alluded to some letters that came from another direction. Those letters that you said came from the CS. Did you say something like that? That there were letters that originated from the CS to you?
Chair, I didn't say so.
What was it that you are referring to when you said that I only knew the ones that came from the board, but there were others that came from... Did you receive any employment letters from the CS?
No, I didn't receive.
So every employment letter came from the board forwards?
Yes. To the chair.
Lose my line of thought.
Yes.
Maybe in the report, when the audit, the PSC committee was taking over, there was an inaugural meeting which was held on 13 May 2024. and was presided over by His Excellency the Governor Sang. And other staff in attendance, there were 10 senior staff from the county who are well conversant with the records, which the BSc say were missing. One was Dr. Yulita Jeriot Mete, Deputy Governor, and Dr. Francis K. Sang, the County Secretary. Ms. Eliseba Koskei, Chairperson, Public Service Board, Hilary Serem, CEC Finance and Economic Planning, Isaiah Geter, CEC Administration and Public Service, Mr. Stanley Palia, Chief of Staff, Jonathan Misoy, Chief Officer, Administration and Public Service and ICT, Ms. Priska Muige, Chief Officer, Finance and Economic Planning, Ms. Nancy Jeruta, Secretary, CEO and CEO to the County Public Service Board, Ms. Corretti Rotich, Director of Human Resources. So now that the CSE, he was aware of these records, he had just allowed the Public Service Commission to ridicule themselves because they could not do proper audit simply because information was withheld from them. The CS, who was part of the high-ranking officials during the inaugural meeting, was present. And all along, when the Public Service Commission was in the county, in the report they have said that the records were missing, no minutes of board. Yet CS is aware. He has confessed in this house that he was aware of the improper handing over of the information. So he knew that a copy of the files was with Mr. Mayo and a copy was with the acting chair. So yes, it's not in order to distance yourself from this. You knew well. Can you confirm to this one?
Okay, before you respond, Mr. Sang, I would like to get some clarity from Mr. Mayo. From the records that you had, did you bring it to the attention of the county secretary?
I did not give a copy to the county secretary, but I mentioned to him that I wanted to hand over, but I mentioned to him that I left a copy to the Public Service Board.
So he knew that there was no proper handing over. The county secretary knew.
That one I may not.
You mentioned to him. You've rightly put it that you mentioned to him.
Yes,
Is
I
that
did
true?
mention. I did mention to him.
So, to the best of your knowledge, he knew the circumstances surrounding your handover, your handing over.
Yes, he knew because I mentioned to him.
And Chair, please, there's something that I want to pick from him. You mean such a very serious function of handing over critical documents of the government, you just do it orally. You are doing it orally. There is no any written document to the county secretary that you want to hand over. Is that a procedure? Do you do things in such a casual manner? An officer of your caliber, just mentioning by word of mouth. Was that the right thing to do?
Mr. Mayo, was that the right thing to do?
I may say it was not the right thing to do, but I made it for his information.
Okay. Maybe the county secretary, can you respond to the issue raised by Tarbey?
Mheshimiwa Tarbey has come very clear. Chair, I said earlier on that matter was brought to my attention. I intervened both with the chair of the Public Service Board, the vice chair, precisely, I think that's the right word, together with the incoming secretary and mayor to finalize the process. After that, that matter ended. No one reported to me that it was not concluded until I think about when these issues came up now, when you invited the board, is when I got to know that there was no handing over. So I did not do anything, Chair, like I did it intentionally and they didn't want to give that information to the
Chair,
Public Service Commission.
Chair, allow me ask final question.
Yes.
Yes,
Now, Chair, the reality of the matter is the county government are relying on this report from the Public Service Commission. That our children, our doctors, our nurses are out there being referred to as cost workers simply because the county government, despite this Honorable House allocating resources for a proper audit by the Public Service Commission, they withheld important documents, including the Kaimosi vetting and the rest, because I am sure Mr. Mayo asked those documents. That's why our children are being referred to as cost workers, because some information was hidden from the Public Service Commission, which could have been vindicated our doctors, our nurses, because the Public Service Commission were relying on information from the county. So the county decided to hide very important information from the Public Service Commission. Now our children, our doctors, our nurses are being referred to as cost workers simply because the Public Service Commission was not availed records. And that's why, Chair, when the doctors came to our assembly yesterday, we saw physical doctors, we saw physical nurses. But according to the Public Service Commission, they are cost workers because they were not availed proper recording. So, County Secretary, is this really fair for our brothers and sisters who have been serving in this county? Their information was not available to the Service Commission, and now they are being referred to as cost workers, when we know how the cost workers, the real cost workers, found themselves in the payroll. Is this fair, according to you?
Yes, Dr. Sang.
Thank you very much, Chair. The Honorable Member, through the Chair, has asked me a very important question for this session, which the same question, Chair, would be better handled by the Public Service Board because they are the ones who revoked the appointment.
Honorable Chair. Honorable
Chair, I thought he said that he's the chair of the Public Service Board.
No.
For clarity, the county secretary is not the chair of the service board.
Chair.
So maybe let me first allow to force her to air.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm really wondering who employed the cost workers to be in payroll. And now we have those who are physically in work. And those who are cost workers, they are nowhere seen and they have been earning salary. So surely, who employed these cost workers? We want to know, sincerely speaking, who employed the cost workers? Does it mean that the CS, who is the final person to sign the letters for the employment, is not aware? And also, who was the acting CEO by that time? Surely what happened? Tell us. Any of you can respond. Thank you.
So that in conjunction with in what Honorable Trubosa has just asked, now I've come to realize that the file was not handed over to PSC. So my question is, what did the PSC use now to establish whether we have the cost workers or how many people do they have? Because from the clearly report, Mayo never handed over the same file after taking over from Nancy. So which document did these people handed over to the PSC?
Okay.
And if it did,
Honorable
and
members,
if it did, the PSC received the file from who?
Honorable members, I want to give guidance. According to the PSC report that is just with us, it indicated that the county government of Nandi, through the Public Service Board, provided 38% of the documents to the Public Service Commission. So the Public Service Commission used the documents that they were given to come up with this report. So I think that one I've guided well.
Chair.
Yes.
Actually, you have assisted the witnesses in a very serious way, because I would have liked the CS to tell us that percentage. However, because you have already said, could he tell us why the 68 or so % was not handed over, and what kind of report does he think we would have gotten if they gave out 100%?
Chair, let me pose a question also which is related to that, to the county secretary. Okay, it is the county secretary is among
Dr. Sang, are you paying attention, please?
Yeah.
Yes, so that, okay.
Okay, the report from the PS is that it is your office also, the county secretary, that there are the documents that you never submitted. Now that you are here, can you tell us which document are those in your token that were never submitted?
Proceed.
Chair.
Let us allow him to...
Something for the guidance, Chair.
Yes.
Just something simple. Looking at page 6 of the PSC report, Chair, on the source of documents, like you've mentioned, 9 items were required, 1 to 9. Can the county secretary tell us whose responsibility, or rather, these documents, the 9 documents that were required by the Public Service Commission, is under whose custody?
Can I ask the Sergeant at Arms to provide a copy of the Public Service Commission report to the...
Maybe you can also ask the witness, Honorable Chairman, if he has read this report.
These 9 items,
Has
Chair,
he read?
I have.
Honorable Minor, please. Can you allow another member to finish?
These 9 items that were required by the Public Service Commission, who is the custodian of these items? Under whose office should these documents, who was supposed to provide actually these documents to the Public Service Commission?
County Secretary.
Thank you very much, Chair. May I begin from a response that was raised by Honorable Trufosa, that we have the final signatories, Mayo, and I think the reference was myself. I do not know what she meant by that the two of us are final signatories. That's a statement that was made by Honorable Trufosa.
Maybe she can clarify it. Mheshimiwa, can you clarify?
Thank you, Chair. The reason why I said both of you can answer, any of you, is because the acting CEO by that time is the one who handed over the letters to the CS. And the CS is the final person to sign the letters for employment. So where did these cost workers arrived in payroll? And both of you are the ones to sign the letters for the employment people. Thank you.
It's now clear, Chair. Let me make a statement that in the employment process, I don't sign anything. Let me proceed to the second one. I sign nothing in the employment process.
What about deployment?
Deployment from one department to the other. That's what I do. Deployment within the department is by the chief officer. And unless I'm moving an officer from one department to the other one is a reserve of a chief officer within the department. Can I proceed?
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. One of the critical documents, Chair, that the office of the CS did not give to the Public Service Commission is crack minutes, County Human Resource Advisory, because there were no crack minutes that were done at that time to warrant to give what was the documents that were valid for that particular period. So County Human Resource Advisory Committee minutes were not there and I didn't give them. So can I have the 9 items so that I can quickly refer? I wanted that document.
County Secretary, eh?
Yes.
You have talked of that you are the one who signed the deployment letters from one department to another department.
I actually transfer from one department to the other.
Yeah, at some times.
Yes.
Do you assign any other person to sign on your behalf?
Deployment,
Yeah.
the transfer from one department to the other.
Yes.
May be done by my deputy.
Because here we have some deployment letters from one department to the Kanawasco.
Oh, yes.
Which were not signed by you.
I would love to know the person who took the courage to do it.
Okay, maybe I will request the ICT department to project one of the letters signed by the name is yours. So
Yes.
we will just dispute the signature.
Okay. The 9 items. The 9 items. Number 1. This is Department of Public Service together with the Public Service Board. That is number 1. This is in regard to County Public Service Human Resource Management policies. Number 2, collective bargaining agreement between associations of local government employers and Kenya Local Government Workers Union, again the Department of Public Service, most cases domiciled either in human resource section or directorate, and it's also available at the payroll. The other one is IPPD systems payroll. These are documents from the payroll, and this again is under public service. Manual payrolls from the public service. Staff registers, this is IPPD, public service. Staff lists by department. Departments would be required to give the staff lists by their roles. List of officers recruited and appointed by the Public Service Board, Public Service Board. List of officers recruited and appointed by Public Service Board, Public Service Board. List of officers issued with appointment letters from HR. Appointment letters from? Didn't understand this.
The 9th item is list of officers issued with appointment letters from HR.
Is it that they picked from Human Resource Office, maybe? Because no officers picks appointment letters from Human Resource. They don't, ordinarily. They pick from the Public Service Board, and that is the original copies. I think I've responded to that.
Chair, he has clearly mentioned in whose custody are those documents supposed to be provided. Chair, now you can realize 98% of these documents should come from Public Service Board. What now made the Public Service Board not to avail this very critical document to inform the decision making of the Public Service Commission? Chair, I'm asking a question to County Secretary. 98% of this source information should ideally come from the Public Service Commission. Board. What happened that the board didn't avail this critical information to the Public Service Commission?
I can't tell, Chair. To be very honest.
Maybe can Mr. Mayo give us a brief on how documents are handled at the county Public Service Board? Mr. Mayo, please. How are documents handled? So that whenever there is an audit, like the one that was done by the Public Service Commission, no documents are provided for.
Thank you, Chair. From from what the Public Service Commission wanted was from 1st July 2022 to 30th April 2024. That is what they was not applied to. And as I mentioned earlier that I was there in October 2022. So maybe the Public Service Commission from 1st July, the Public Service Board has these documents. They do have. The honorable member had asked why were not supplied. And now, this is the documents that are there in the Public Service Board. The only problem is that, like I said, I was not handed over to. If I was handed over to, maybe I would have, it was under my custody, and I would have handed over to the respective.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Kite.
Maybe so that we can bring this case to the rest. Now, this question goes to Mr. Mayo. You want to tell us, according to you, you are not aware of the mess that happened and you are not part and parcel of this mess. Can you confirm with your own mouth that you are not part and parcel of the mess we are under now?
Chair, I'm not part and parcel of the mess.
Honorable Chair, maybe another direct question to Mr. Mayo. Mr. Mayo, it's been alleged that you sold letters of employment. Is that a true position?
It is not true. It is not true position, and the same aspect is in the court.
Have you ever sold any appointment letter?
No, I didn't.
Thank you. May I ask the County Secretary? County Secretary, and I ask you again humbly, did you read the report? Did you read this report?
Yes, I did.
What did it say about public service, the County Service Board? What were the findings?
In totality and in summary, Chair,
what is the outstanding thing?
That it needed to be given operational autonomy to operate with some level of independence.
How did
to
you
be
feel
more effective?
How did you feel about that? When they say that it should be independent, what does it mean to you?
And I sought further information on that. The board clearly indicated that they had independence in terms of their mandate in decision making. They only needed to be empowered.
Witness, you called a body, an independent body.
Yes.
They came back to us and said they found that the board was not independent. So who do you think was not making them independent? If you look at the arms of government, in your own, just probably your assumption, it may not be correct. What do you assume to be the one preventing them from being independent?
My understanding, Chair, is that the clarity of that was that they needed to be supported financially.
Is it so? Independence?
That was what was saying functional independence, but it was.
It doesn't mention financial.
Chair, point of information. I think in this house we normally pass budget, Chair, and I normally see both they have their own voted. So what does the CS mean by saying they wanted more resources?
Yeah.
About 100 million.
Pardon?
Honorable members, let us give time to the County Secretary.
I am aware, Chair, that the functions of the board is not only to recruit. There are very many other functions. Among others is to ensure that the values and principles espoused in Article 10 and 232 are actually adhered to by the public servants. And for them to do that, they have to move. They also have to empower the staff in terms of capacity building together with the human resource, the public service department. If that is not done, then again, they may not be doing their work well. And then their budget then needs to be enhanced in that respect.
Honorable Dr. Sang, let me bring to your attention that in the subsequent years, in fact, we have been upscaling the budget for the Public Service Board. And the question that was asked by Honorable Maina is, whom do you think is interfering with the operation of this board? And that is why it came to the attention of the Public Service Commission to a level that it had to document.
Thank you, Chair. I am responding as clear as that the board can be able to tell us who is interfering.
Could you be the one? Could you be one of them?
Chair, I think the board can tell us who is interfering with their work.
Now,
let me bring another version of the story, and I want to direct this to Mr. Mayo. During your tenure as the acting county secretary, board secretary, sorry, were you independent?
Thank you, Chair. The board.
Did you make independent decisions?
We, as a board, we made independent decision, and we would have consultative meeting with the executive. And there are some consultative meeting we made with the executive when we were in Kenmosa, and another meeting when we were in Naivasha. Thank you, Chair.
By the way, Honorable Chairman, could you tell us, for how long were you in Kenmosa?
So let me, Honorable Member, please allow me a very critical issue. You say you have been doing consultation with the executive.
Yes.
Is that the true position?
That is the true position, Chair.
Concerning what?
Human resource. After Kaimose verification.
Now you've summarized. You've summarized. So, honorable members, let us proceed.
Please allow me, Chairman, to finish the few questions. How long were you in Kanmosa? For purposes of record.
Board was in Kanmosa for over a month.
Can you give us the exact number of days?
Chair, I may not have the exact number of the days here now, but from the records, I'm able to tell.
Okay. So you can supply that to us.
I will.
Secretary, I ask again about the report. Among the things that were missing or the manual payroll, can you tell this committee how many months were missing from the report? And how many months were provided?
Chair, I can't quite remember because I read this report immediately when it came. I can't remember now.
Okay, let me put it to you then that 19 months, and I've also read it along, well anyway, 19 months were missing. Are you surprised?
I read it and it's not surprising me now.
Now, you've mentioned that it is under public service.
Yes.
And you are the head of public service. Is it possible for us to make can the case be made that that is actually under you?
Chair, earlier on, and I think with all the humility, I explained the role of the head of public service.
As head of county public service.
It should not be taken literally that I am the head of that particular department of public service. I say
not department. The office. Are you not the overall person?
Yes.
For all civil servants in the county?
And the role is coordination.
Even including the ones that are in charge of the payroll?
I'm the head of all the staff.
And that's why I asked you earlier on, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? You started talking about roads. I thought, or maybe I could just bring you back and ask again, do you hold staff meetings?
I do for chief officers.
Only?
Yes, and for the simple reason that I address issues at that higher level.
Chair.
So directors and others?
Directors consult quite often.
Chair.
But you don't meet them?
As and when there is need. I do.
Have you ever met them?
Yes.
Do you have records to that effect?
Yes, we met. I'm very clear in my mind.
I mean, do you have records of such meetings? How many
Yes,
meetings?
I have.
In the last 2 years?
I have.
Under question?
I have.
So please kindly share, Chairman.
That's fine.
Let the witness share with us. Now, the final question I would like to ask you, are you aware about a certain thing called leave of absence?
Yes, I'm aware.
Can you tell this committee, how many officers are under that arrangement to work in the county government?
From
or are you aware, first of all, that there are such officers who are on leave of absence and they are serving in the county government? Are you aware?
From elsewhere or within the county?
Within.
The whole process of leave of absence, Chair, I would be involved in granting.
Are you aware?
Let me finish. I would be involved in granting the leave of absence. And because I have never been involved, then I don't know of any.
I think, honorable members, the county secretary has just be honest. So let us proceed.
Chair, allow me to ask a question.
One more question for Mr. Mayo, Chair, before it flips. I would want to know if indeed you are independent, the way you alluded at earlier, why all this consultation that you have been in consultation for 3 months, and who are you consulting with? Because at first, for what purpose, and board is independent? Can you answer that question? If indeed the board was independent, the way you alluded, you say you have been in consultation for 1 month. With who? Again, and yet you are supposed to be independent body.
Chair, the way I understand myself, independent is that the decision made by the board are final. But in terms of recruitment of staff, executive writes the board. And what the honorable member is saying is that there was a consultation on the numbers of the staff to be recruited, and that is what we did. And the last part of the question was with who? Most of the consultation, or nearly all of the consultation was done, initially was done with the executive, that is governor, deputy governor, and secretary, county secretary. And there were scenarios that chief officers and directors were called upon to verify the list that was submitted to the board. Thank you.
Chair, there is something.
I think
something on conflict of interest, Chair.
Yes, let me allow Honorable Sum and then I'll give it to you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I want to ask Mr. Mayo, during your tenure in the as the secretary to the board, were you under extreme pressure from the executive to recruit without following the law as a board?
No, I was not, Chair.
Thank you.
Chair, let me just as a rejoinder.
Yeah.
Bwana Mayo, and this is an hypothetical situation. His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, attends a funeral, and in the course of the funeral, the public pleads that employ this girl, employ this young man, and then she agrees. How do you handle a situation like that where she has agreed that we are going to take your daughter She's a qualified nurse. And next week, she will be atakuwa kazini. How were you handling such cases? Because don't lie. You processed many of such cases. How do you handle it? And I'm saying it is hypothetical. So,
thank you, Chair. During my tenure, I didn't encounter such situation. Thank you.
Chair, allow me to ask one question.
Okay, Honorable Tarbe, proceed.
Yeah, my question will be to the CS. In an ideal situation, who presides over, maybe like one CEO is taking over from another, who presides over the handing over?
I do it myself,
and
or my representative.
And in matters of the public service board, who presided, who should have presided over?
When there is a handing over of the entire board, for example, the term has ended, it is the county secretary.
And in this case now, where Mayo was supposed to be handing over to Nancy, who should have presided over?
This is a board that is live, and it has a chair who is very responsible and the head of that section. I mean, you want me to clarify? The vice chair is in charge now. That is the clarification.
So it's just their own affairs. You don't preside over as a...
I don't.
Okay.
Chair, I have a question to the county secretary. Chair.
Yes.
Do you know somebody by the name Abraham Tarbe who works in the Kenawasco board?
As a staff?
He serves in the board. Do you know him?
Not personally.
Do you have any idea that he serves as one of the board members?
In Kanawasco?
Yes.
We never attended their meetings, but not quite clear though.
What happens in a situation, because the information that, the reliable information, Chair, this man by the name Abraham Tarbe served in the board, and he recently, through dubious means, employed a wife, Caroline Martim, in the same department. What do you have to say about that?
In Kanawasco?
Yes.
If there is evidence, Chair, that he influenced the employment, then that is a vice. It's a vice. It's not allowed. It's not ethical.
Is it punishable by law?
Yes, the law is not silent. It should be able to.
Who should take responsibility?
I just want to find out before that responsibility is taken, and then.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe, Chair, final question.
Yes.
To the CS, I think this may be personal. Now that you are retiring in a month's time, as you have said, did you say a month's time?
Pardon?
Now that you are kind of retiring, you are exiting from the service, you said in a month's time.
Is when my time is ending.
Yeah. Would you say now, with all this, I don't know, shenanigans in the public service, are you as an elder from Nandi, do you go home with your head held up high?
You said it is personal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of personal.
Yeah.
Are you proud, maybe?
Something personal that I'm compelled to respond, or?
Okay, let me decline to make it personal, because it is on record. Let me rephrase the question. When you will be exiting as the county secretary, what will you be proud of?
Chair, for the last 7 or so years as a county secretary, I can attest that there are quite a number of things that I have done to this county government of Nandi. I can attest to it. Nevertheless, the situation that we are in, no one in his normal sense would be proud and happy of. And where I am working tirelessly to ensure that we provide a solution before my term ends. And even if my term ends, my mind will still be clear that there has to be a solution. So no one would be happy, really.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Talole.
Thank you so much. I have two concerns to Bwana Sang. One is that when he was making some introduction, he said that he's one of the persons who coordinate the smooth running of departments. Do you think, in your own capacity, do you think there is the departments in Nandi County are running smoothly? And number two, during an employment process, where do you come in? Where do you come in? So that we get to know which role now you play when someone is being employed during that process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. The work of the County Secretary, as I explained earlier on, Chair, and I think I will not tire in explaining, is that I coordinate. Coordination, Chair, may not be visible every day. And I want to assure you that there's a lot that happens behind the scenes in my coordinating role of the county government. And that would not be seen until when the office bearer is not there. Then you will know that things are not smooth. And I want to assure you that I have done a lot in ensuring that that coordination is done to the extent possible that I've been able to do within the circumstances. Number two, Chair, is that my role in employment is that once the department have identified, I play again a role of consolidating the requirements of all the departments, and in agreement with the departments and finance, I also communicate to the board on our needs. And the process goes as I had said earlier on. Thank you.
Honorable Mosbe.
Yes, mine goes to the CS. Dr. CS, you now know that there are no more operations in our roads department. Do you agree that we need people there? Number two, the nurses. You've sent out an advert, or rather the government has sent out an advert. Clearly we need more nurses. We need pharmacists. We need agricultural officers. Of course, let me now ask you, and many others, we need the clerks in our offices. We need accountants in the finance department, where operations in most areas now, like the one in hospitals, is stalled. Do we need these people? Do we need some out of what you shaded out?
Affirmative.
Yes. Now that being the case, you earlier on said the wage bill now, as it is, minus the 1,899 or something, we are at 42. Where do you project the wage bill to be when you feel these positions I've just alluded to? And then finally, and I know you will say something, maybe as you shall be closing, you will say something maybe to the medics out there. But wasn't it possible to take because there are about 3 options in the situations we are in that you would have taken. One of the easier options I would personally see is regularizing all these things that appear that we are saying they were not employed properly. Why couldn't you take that option of regularizing those who are already in service, as opposed to going back to them again?
Thank you, Chair. Can I? Yeah, thank you. I think in the same order. Departments are analyzing their technical needs, and very, very technical in the sense that the needs that we cannot do without. Once they are done, Actually, the analysis should be over. Once they are done, we can be able to know the exact numbers that we require. And once we have known that, we shall be able to do a projection on the exact amount of wage bill. I can give it now. Second, Chair, is the regularizing the employees. There was a meeting that I earlier on said it was discussing the same, with an intention of fixing this problem that has become a problem for the last 3 days. And I'm sure there is a solution now that it has been reached. Nevertheless, it is our concern, just like he is raised. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Wage bill, where can it possibly stand at now that we are at 42 as is?
Chair, I think I had responded that once we are done with the analysis of the departments, we can be able to give the exact projection on that.
So, on Chair, and I think this could be the last question to Mr. Mayo. So, Mr. Mayo, when are you intending to hand over? Because
Thank you, Chair. When I'm called upon to hand over, I will hand over. I have a copy of my report with me, and the board has them. So I'm ready to hand over. And also, remember, I was not handed over to when I was taking the office. Thank you.
Honorable Chair.
Yes, maybe for there is a. I want to confirm, both from the County Secretary and Mr. Mayo, and for clarity, there is this item of leave of absence, and you've confirmed that you play a very integral part in offering that leave of absence. So do you still confirm the same, that you've never sat in any meeting to offer leave of absence, to approve leave of absence? Do you still confirm the same?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. To Mr. Mayo, you've said that there was a unanimous agreement by the board that all employees that were vetted in Kaimosi, the board unanimously agreed to offer them employment letters, appointment letters on contractual terms and on P&P terms without the due process. Do you still stand by that?
Chair, it was a resolution of the board.
I'm saying, do you still stand by that?
Yes.
Thank you. Another issue. You've also said that the COs and the CECs were called upon when you were at Kenmosa to come and check on the list. Will I be wrong that that list, by the virtue of people who are not in the service board being called upon to come and give their input, will I be wrong to say that the list was already compromised? Will I be wrong?
No.
Thank you.
Honorable Chairman, just a few quick questions. One to the CS. Do you know of a certain gentleman by the name Vincent Kipkurui? An employee somewhere in a mechanical engineer.
In which department?
Roads.
Chair, I don't know. I don't know the particular officer.
So you don't know him?
Yes.
Very well. So we'll raise that case there. I would like to ask you, overally now, looking at all these issues that we've discussed, and the idea that you've been superintending over the circumstances we find ourselves in. What responsibility, which side would you say was your responsibility? Because I've had you apportioning it to others. Which one do you put to yourself?
In conjunction with that, Chair, I'm a bit worried because while I was walking around within the Nandi, I found some people still having those vehicles for Nandi County, let's say the fire. Then I asked them, why you not, you mean you are employed permanently? No, they say now we are just volunteering. So I was a bit worried. They are still holding those fire brigade without letters, without anything. So in case of anything now, while those people are driving those fire, who is to be held responsible? In which terms are they in now?
Actually, so that you can answer all of them, we came across, and I hope you've been watching these proceedings, and you might have taken a picture of what is happening across all departments, the ones you've been coordinating, so that they can run smoothly. You saw what happens in Kaimosi, how casuals can be employed without any procedure. You might have heard about the county equipment in the form of tractors being given out to casuals, almost as it were squad. You just go out there and call someone. Now that you are coordinating, how do you feel? Even in roads, the people who are making procurement, the procurement officers were found to be fake. The hospital, the people in charge of procurement. Now, as a CS, how do you feel about this? And considering how you rated yourself, do you still rate yourself that highly?
I initially thought I rated myself lowly, but then interesting that you are clear that I rated myself highly.
You said 7 out of 10.
Yes.
That's quite high.
All right. Yeah, well, it's close to A though, but A is about 80. Nevertheless, let me respond, Chair. One is apportioning blame to myself, no. Two.
No role.
Yes?
You had no role.
Yes, I said no. The very particular issue honorable members raised here is very pertinent. Any wrongdoing anywhere, doing things not as per requirement is wrong by any standards. And having realized some of the things you mentioned, and noting that we have the people responsible in those departments, these are wrongs that we must right once and for all for this county to be in the right place. So I assure you, within my means, I know you are looking at the few days that is remaining. You're wondering what will he do in these few days, and he has had a long stint. The spirit is what is most important. This has to be right. They must be done right in all the departments. And that is the assurance I would want to give this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, honorable members, I wish to bring the session to an end. Maybe unless we still have any issue, I will allow.
Okay, through the
Okay, Chair.
Through
the Chair.
Let us allow the Vice Chair.
There were those letters of redeployment that were never signed by the CS but signed by other people. So can you air them so that the county secretary have it right?
The ICT team, please, can you project some letters of deployment there? Please, can you zoom, especially the signed part? I think not the right one. Yes, that one. That one. Bwana Sang, is that your signature?
Yes, Chair.
And then can you project another one? Can you project the can you confirm that one?
Yes, it's my signature.
Can you next one?
There was one that was signed by someone else, the first one. I saw the first one having signed by someone else. Yes.
For John KB what? Not that one. Can you check for another one? There was the other one signed by somebody Mangira. Yeah, can you please let us have that one?
Yeah, Chair, that is the then Chief Officer for Lands, I think, water lies in that department. As much as the Kanawasco is under water, he shouldn't have done it because he's a separate entity from the county government. So that was the then Chief Officer. And he did not sign it for me. But it didn't come to my attention.
Thank you. Maybe Honorable Sum, you had an issue?
Chair, among those letters, there is one signed by Jonathan Misoi. That is Department of Administration and Public Service. And it is deployment of one Felix Rono to Kanawasco. In this report document that came from Kanawasco. I was to maybe ask one question to the CS. Maybe now that most of the public service was affected by the dismissal or revocation of letters, and we are aware this dismissal came early September and late August. I wanted to ask the CS, don't you think those employees deserve to get their August salary because they were working up to or until almost at the end of August? Lastly, CS, do you think there is a push and pull between the executive and the public service board, especially now that Mr. Mayo, who was once a secretary to the Public Service Board, has gone to the executive, and he never handed over to the Public Service Board? Do you think there is a push and pull?
Yes, Dr. Sam.
Thank you very much. Yeah. The concern of the honorable member is valid. The revocation of the letters of appointment, Chair, which came from the board, citing irregularities with the advisory that the same officers be expunged. That was the advisory they gave. And in that sense, having realized that, they also gave advisory that the payment shouldn't be done. So as I have explained, it is really an advisory that came from the board in that realization. The issue of handing over, I think there was a question that by Honorable Keter. when Mayo is going to hand over several months after. Can I, Chair, undertake that I am not midwifing the process, but I make sure that the right things are done? I'm just humbly asking this committee that I'm going to do almost immediately. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, maybe finally, Chair.
Honorable Tarbi.
Maybe finally, now that Daktari is exiting the stage, are you allowed maybe to make a recommendation of the next CS, or do we get ready for another acting CS for quite some time?
Chair, can you allow me not make a comment on that?
I will not allow. Because you are exiting, you just give your position.
Yes. So you want me to give a recommendation, or we're going to have acting?
You've been asked a question. He's not saying that you give a recommendation.
Is it? So
He's posed a question that now that you are exiting the stage, will you make recommendation, or shall we wait for another acting position?
The appointing authority will do the right things as per the law.
Honorable Tarbe, are you satisfied?
Yeah, I think I'm satisfied.
Oh.
Chair, give me one chance, Chair.
Okay, proceed.
Because, Chair, I look at Edwin Mayo, and I feel like there is something in his heart that is very heavy. I would wish that he gets a chance, even if it is in camera, to tell us a few things here and there, because, you know, even this thing is not easy. Most of the things, as you can see, for an officer of his caliber, with very, very high competence, CPA, certified public secretary and that kind of thing, for an handover not to take place, it is not a light matter, Chair, and I think you will consider that.
Maybe one final question, unless other members will have some. Mine is to the county secretary. You've said that the county public service board gave an advisory on the revocation of the employment letters. The question is, on what basis were they acting upon?
Chair, without answering for the board, I believe they had an analysis of the situation, and as they analyzed, they must have found out that the irregularities were too heavy, that the only thing that was needed was to revoke.
Before the audit or after the audit?
They gave us that report after the audit.
After the audit?
Yes.
So will I be wrong if I say that they used the audit by the Public Service Commission to justify their action of advising?
Maybe, maybe not.
Honorable Chairman, I have two questions. CS, who invited the PSC?
Chair, the PSC was invited after a discussion between the board and the executive, and they both agreed. The two, they are not arms; they are in the same arm.
So you had a formal meeting?
Yes.
And they are
And
records to that
we
effect.
wrote a letter to PSC.
You have a record to that?
Of the letter?
The meeting between those two bodies.
Oh, yes.
So kindly share with us that the record of that meeting when you made those recommendations. You talked also about master lists whenever people are employed. So I take it that you have in your custody master lists?
From the departments?
Of employment. I heard you talking about master lists.
The list, the reference is the one that the departments use to record their officers as they work.
Yeah, you talked about some
it is
coming to your office.
It is one of the list number. I don't know which number this was. Staff lists rather. Staff lists.
Yes.
It is in the departments.
No, whenever employment is done, you said the employment letters come with a master list.
Correct.
Where are those master lists?
I know, and I didn't get you right previously. We have them. The one that accompanies appointments.
Yes, have you shared them with this?
They hadn't been asked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kindly do. During the period when you said, the said period of consideration, did you say that crack did not meet?
We didn't mean to consider.
You didn't meet at all?
Yes.
Okay. Finally, now that the payroll has been a crime scene, sort of, to your knowledge, is there anybody who has been returned to the payroll and had been deleted lately?
To the best of knowledge, none.
What are you taking? Is it now more of interest to you, considering that probably before things used to be done in your back? Are you taking it more hands-on now?
You've said it right.
What have you done?
One is immediately we changed the persons manning the payroll. We have invited the officers from the Department of Personnel Management to come and induct the officers at the payroll. And after inductions now we'll allow them to fully operate. And we shall be having the department checking the numbers in the payroll time and again to ensure that there are no variations that are not explained. That's part of what we are going to do.
In charge of payroll right now?
There is an officer who is temporarily been assigned duties pending the induction.
Name, please?
I think it's Talam, if I'm Talam. But we can provide the right name. Thank you.
Chair, one last one from this side.
Yes.
One short one. Let me ask the two officers. Are you among the officers who have been getting double pay? That is inside payroll and also the payment outside payroll.
Chair, no.
Chair, it is also in the negative.
Last question, Chair.
Yes.
Bwana CS, after all these interactions, do you still rate yourself 7 out of 10, or you have seen some changes?
And I know the change member is asking is to come down. I am still there.
Okay, maybe to Mr. Mayor, there was an issue raised by Honorable Mosby that he has made some observations and he feels that you have something heavy that you might want to tell this committee. And we can even allow that we go off camera. Do you have something to tell this committee?
Thank you, Chair. First and foremost, want to thank this committee for giving me audience. Two is the matters that we have discussed here, most of them are in court. And what honorable member said is it's not true that I have something heavy. I don't have something heavy. The only thing is that what I discharged as secretary to the board was the deliberation of the board. And everything that was done, including issuance of the letters, was the resolution of the board. Thank you.
Maybe so that we wind up completely. You are now an internal auditor. True or false?
True.
And comparing the both scenarios about record keeping, where do you now keep your records?
Internal audit records are kept in the office of internal auditor, head of internal audit office.
So if you are to leave that office, will you also go with the copies?
Chair, I will not go with the copies. In fact, for the Public Service Board, copies are in the office. If I'll be given a chance, I will retrieve the records for Public Service Board in the board. So I didn't go with them.
But you said you have copies.
Yeah, I have a, yeah, Chair, thank you. I have a copy of my handing over report with me.
It is just a copy of your handing over report?
Yes.
Not any other document that belongs to the board?
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any other, I don't have any document or any asset of the Public Service Board.
Now, under your tenure, were there some laptops that were purchased?
No, there was no laptop that was purchased under my tenure.
Okay, thank you. Maybe give your final submission so that we close.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, honorable members, for this interactive session. Mine is to wish you well. Thank you.
Okay, I will allow the County Secretary to give his final remarks, but with one question. Considering all the happenings, in your view, will I be correct to say that public money has been lost?
Yeah, you may be right.
Give your final remarks.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, honorable members. Similarly, I would like to thank all of us for this very interactive session, and particularly very informative concerns and questions you are able to raise concerning the matter in question. And I am very delighted that I had that opportunity to respond. Where I wasn't able to respond in a manner that was not satisfactory, it was because of what I thought at personal level was right at that time. I want to thank you and wish you well even as you proceed on with the remaining part of your of the sessions with the other teams. And I want to believe that the report you are going to give is going to be very positive, and it's the one that is going to bring us very progressive recommendations to the improvement of everything in this county. Thank you very much and wish everyone all the best.
Thank you, the County Secretary and Mr. Mayor. Maybe take note of the issues that you have been requested to submit. The master list, a copy of the master list, minutes of the meeting between the executive and the board to agree on the invitation of the Public Service Commission, and maybe any other document that you have been requested, please.
Chair, don't forget the correspondence between the department and public service for the purpose of filling vacant positions.
Yeah, there was that one, correspondence between your office and all the departments concerning filling of the vacant positions in all the departments.
The outcome of the Ken Mosa. I think
that already. One is directed to Mr. Mayor. Give us a detailed summary on the outcome of Ken Mosa. Otherwise, on behalf of the committee, I would like to appreciate you for your time and wish you well in all your endeavors. Thank you. I will now request the Sergeant at Arms. Maybe on the issue to do with the annexes here, I want to request that we shall run copies and provide you with the originals. Thank you. So the Sergeant at Arms, please, can you usher the County Secretary out and Mr. Mayor. Okay, honorable members, we still have one other team to engage, and I'm proposing that we give ourselves 15 minutes break so that we come and finish the team remaining. So otherwise I will ask for a proposal and a seconder for adjournment.
I propose for adjournment.
Songok second.
Thank you,